What's going on, guys? David Peck here, better known as Dpeck100. We're live in Orlando, Florida. I just got my second batch of the 1979 Gulas Rax Roast Beef Wrestling cards back from PSA. This has been a ton of fun for me. I love the nostalgia, love uncovering the mystery of the most elusive set of trading cards from wrestling's past. This right here is actually the cover card. This was what, to me, makes this graded set going to be so difficult to ever find another one. And you're going to have to find a sealed set because, as you can see, a free offering of some amazing Rax Roast Beef French fries were offered. And a little background on the set before we dive right in. This particular set, what makes it so rare is the Nick Gulas territory was really on the downslope. They offered up this set of cards one time only at the Thanksgiving Spectacular show. They made 1,200 sets. As you can imagine, most people were probably more interested in the French fries. I did learn the other day that actually attendance was so bad that they gave out the rest in Chattanooga. So that's kind of interesting to find out. First, we have Nick Gulas. What a controversial character in Memphis wrestling history. He was the co-owner of that territory. And in 1977, him and Jerry Jarrett, who was actually booking for him, had a fallout. And pretty much the rest was history. So such a fascinating set, knowing that this 40-plus year promotion that Gulas was running basically died in the middle to late part of 1980, so shortly after this. Next, we have Dennis Condrey. And what I love so much about this card is he looks like such a redneck. And, you know, it's funny, my dad, growing up here in Orlando, Florida, was in the Carpenters Union, definitely had long hair and a beard, and this was kind of the look they would sport. There's a great video on YouTube of Condrey and David Schultz, who started a team up in the first part of 1980, and oh, it's a classic. They are just, it is 1980 South times 10. Next, we have Mike St. John. He actually was the sort of Mean Gene Okerlund, if you will, of this particular territory. The Memphis territory had Lance Russell and I think Dave Brown. But anyway, Mike St. John did a little bit of the interviews, and you know, one of the things that's so great when you uncover a set like this is, you know, I've got to go do some research to find out who a lot of these people are. Next, we have Tommy Sloan, obviously an official referee. This one is a Gem Mint 10, which I have to say, when I started seeing a couple of these grades, I couldn't have been more happy. George Gulas. This right here is the most controversial figure ever out of Memphis wrestling. Many suggest that the reason Nick Gulas' territory fell apart was he was overbooking George. Believe it or not, this particular guy wrestled a draw in 1977 with Harley Race. And as it's said from the history books, basically Jerry Jarrett, you know, Gulas tried to force, you know, George on him when he was running more with Jerry Lawler and a few other people, and that's when they broke apart in 1977. Len Rossi. What's so funny about this card is, you know, when I first opened the set, I recorded a little video. Unfortunately, it was sideways, and I was kind of laughing at this dude. It turns out he was a big star, major player in the Tennessee wrestling scene in the 60s and 70s. It looks like here, you know, he might have been like, I think he was an announcer at this point, but really a major player for many years in the wrestling scene. I have no idea who this guy is. It's pretty cool looking shot. The back says he weighs about 270. Looks like a big dude, probably with some type of enhancement talent. Definitely didn't make it too far. Next, we have Robert Gibson, one half of the Midnight Express. He is extremely young here. He's tagging with his older brother, Ricky Gibson, teaching him the business. I just saw a video a few nights ago, and I mean, his mic skills were horrific at this point. You know, he was really just incredibly green. And, you know, it's so cool to see a guy, you know, go on from this period in 1983, 84. You know, the Rock and Roll Express really started to explode and make, you know, a name for themselves. One of the things that's pretty cool about this set is it's really, really, you know, hometown promotion, if you will. I mean, it's unheard of to have pictures of the staff. I thought that was pretty cool. I need to do a little research on Donna Bauer. Not certain if she's, you know, somebody of any significance that played any role, you know, behind the scenes. You know, the reason I say that is like Jerry Jarrett's mom was apparently, you know, mattered behind the scenes. Tojo Yamamoto. This guy was a Memphis legend. You know, I'm too young to have really seen him. It turns out his health was failing him in the early 90s. He took his own life. Just learned that the other day after doing some research. There's some great stories about this performer. You know, Hulk Hogan says when he wrestled in Memphis that Tojo put his cigar down his boot, and it was incredibly painful. Apparently, he really protected the business and, you know, was just quite the character. Next, we have Pat Smith. This guy went on to be a jobber under a few different names. It's kind of a funny story. You know, I got these, you know, posted online, and anyway, Scott Teal, the guy I purchased the cards from, tagged this guy in a Facebook post, and he was losing his mind today, saying he wanted to buy the card. Obviously, anybody who knows Dpeck100 knows these aren't for sale. This is part of my collection. And a Gem Mint 10, I mean, the odds of another one surfacing are incredibly low. Beautiful Bobby Eaton. This is an amazing shot because he's so young. You can see this is probably like a high school gymnasium. He had lots of different tag partners before he went on to huge success with the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette. A little bit after this picture was taken, you know, he was forced to tag with George Goulas, and, you know, that was a little bit of a tough deal, obviously. This is just another office personnel, Tommy Kirklis. The Red Terror. Not certain who this guy is. Another guy that somebody on the message board from the Facebook Memphis page, you know, sent a picture to. He loved seeing his card. Tom Bernicetto Jr. You know, when I first did the first video, I noticed that his father was in the set too. And this guy has jobber written all over him. Don't know much about his background, but it was very common in the wrestling business to have your parent, either the booker or the owner of the territory, and getting you a spot. This guy clearly benefited from that. Chief Thundercloud, not really certain who he is, but it is a mint condition card. You know, you can never go wrong when you bust open a sealed set and pop some 8s, 9s, and 10s. Ken Lucas. Ken Lucas was a major star in this area. You know, I have to say, he's also in the 1983 Wrestling All-Stars. Anybody who knows Dpeck100 knows, you know, I pretty much collect all wrestling cards from this era. Most of my focus is the Wrestling All-Stars, but, you know, I'm always trying to find cool stuff like this to keep me occupied, and he's in the very tough 1983 set. Tom Bernicetto Sr. One of the great things, as I said before, about uncovering a set like this is I get to do a little research, and it turns out he was a major star in wrestling. He was one of the Assassins. I never would have guessed that. Also, he is credited at this time for being a great booker. He really helped apparently stem the tide for a period with Goulas's promotion after him and Jarrett broke apart in 1977. So very, very cool card. If anything, you know, the Assassins were big time in the 60s and 70s. Dr. David Schultz. Okay, this is the card that forced me to spend 7 years looking for this set. I had an opportunity to offer a few $100s to David himself through a fellow collector, Bob, in New York. He just laughed and said, "This guy obviously doesn't know me." And so what made it possible for me to get these cards was a few raw cards showed up on eBay a couple months ago. It turns out it was somebody in Pensacola, Florida. There was like a gun collection. They were clearing out a closet, found the cards. Well, anyway, Bob from New York had remembered I told him I would at least pay $200 for the beat-up copy, and he ended up taking it for $177. He also won the Lynn Rossi. What's a great part of the story is, you tried to buy him from the seller right away, and he was like, "Oh, these things are, worthless," and, the guy was just shocked that they did so well. Anyway, Bob's graded a 5.5. This one graded PSA 8. You can see it's a little off center, but otherwise it's a great card, and, just absolutely thrilled to add this to my collection. Next we have Ricky Gibson. Ricky is Robert Gibson's older brother, and I tell you, this guy was pretty good on the mic, and there's some good promos on YouTube of him really carrying his younger brother, who was very green, as I said before. This guy just sort of embodies an enhancement talent, Jerry Barber. I noticed on some of the historical results, he was on a lot of cards, and you can see that, he just was a standard professional wrestler that was generally going to lose. All right, this is the final card in the set, and this is what really sent me over the edge. When Scott Teal had posted a picture of the sealed pack that he had said he had on the Memphis Wrestling Facebook page, I noticed Prince Tonga on the back and said to myself, that has to be Haku, or at one point in his career, Prince Tonga. And so, anyway, that's when I decided to up the ante and threw out a number he couldn't resist. Was so pumped to get this set and open it up, and was fortunate enough just a few weeks ago to get to have dinner with Tonga, another fellow wrestling collector, Greg, and was able to show him the set, show him the card. He absolutely loved it. He's never seen one in person. This is the only known copy so far. When I had opened the set, there was 3 or 4 cards that had never been seen. I think only 18 at the time had actually ever surfaced. So anyway, this has been an incredible chase. Couldn't be happier that I was finally able to land the set, get them in PSA slabs. This has an 8.45 rating, which is amazing. And on to the next project for Dpeck100. As you know, I'm always trying to take the wrestling card market to the next level, and this has certainly done so. You guys have a great night, and thanks for checking out my video.